Welcome back to the Affordable Housing Masterclass. We're here to dive into policies, laws, and trends shaping affordable housing. We're your hosts, Jahan
and Jessica.
Today, we're focusing on Private Housing Financing Law, Section 610. Its significance, its applications, how it can be utilized in affordable housing. As we all know, we're in the middle of an affordable housing crisis here in New York, but across the country. This is a tool that has been implemented here in New York to help developers, property owners, and property managers kind of work through some of the frustrations with financing and being able to maintain affordability for their projects. So, as this is a crucial part of affordable housing, we really want to dive into this and give you guys some tangible uses for this new law and how it can be utilized. So let's break it down.
So what is Section 610? It's a section of the New York Private Housing Finance Law that deals with maintaining affordability in housing developments, even after the initial regulatory periods have ended. This law has become particularly relevant for developers and owners of stabilized housing projects, navigating challenges like rising costs and the expiration of compliance periods. Section 610 allows housing companies to extend or renegotiate their affordability agreements under certain conditions, often by entering new contracts with state or local housing agencies. It is an essential tool for preserving affordable housing stock in New York.
Why does this law matter? Affordable housing developments often rely on regulatory agreements or tax incentives that always come with a time limit. These periods often end and owners are faced with the tough decision of whether to maintain affordability or convert their properties to market. So let's talk about some pathways in which this law can be used. So I would say there are probably 3 specific points that we should highlight when it comes to Section 610. Extending affordability is one of them. Stabilizing housing is another. And then addressing financial pressures. Those are the goals that I think the creators of this law had in mind when they created it. So let's dive into that a little bit deeper. So extending affordability. With this particular law, many of the uses were thought through people who were coming to the end of their compliance period or at the end of their compliance period. With that, you were able to extend affordability and get financing to address the rising costs that are associated with being able to maintain affordable housing. Now, what are some of those rising costs, right? We can talk about utilities. We can talk about insurance that's skyrocketed post-COVID. So these are all really major issues that developers and owners are dealing with that this particular law is supposed to be able to open up financing for.
So Section 610 offers strategic opportunities for owners to voluntarily extend the affordability periods for their property. And in exchange for this commitment, owners may receive updated terms, including beneficial adjustments such as capital improvement allowances, and other financial incentives. The duration of the extended affordability program varies, depending on the negotiations between the property owners and their relevant authorities. And this flexibility allows for extensions ranging from a few years to several decades, depending on the financial need of the property and incentives offered. This ensures that properties remain affordable for a longer duration, providing tenants with stability and helping preserve affordable housing.
This is actually a really good thing, though, because as we know, affordable housing stock is an issue here. And it's an issue across the country. So this does give owners a way to possibly preserve the affordable housing stock they have as opposed to turning the property to market.
Yeah, because it is very beneficial. There are beneficial adjustments, capital improvement allowances, financial incentives. Those are things that owners can really look forward to when it does come to extending their compliance period.
Right. And obviously, the goal is with this discussion and the use of Section 610 is to maintain housing stability. Because the stock is low and the need is very high, I believe that the government is looking into ways to really help address some of the deficits that owners and developers face when it comes to being able to afford to maintain
Yes.
affordability.
Yes.
And then let's talk about point 2, which is stabilizing housing. So Section 610 definitely provides a pathway for owners to keep the property affordable, which in hand then creates an environment for stability, for housing, for our tenants that are in need of affordable housing and our most vulnerable population. As the compliance periods expire, some properties transition to market, which provides an opportunity for the most vulnerable to be in situations where housing may not be available to them. However, Section 610 serves as a safeguard to ensure that tenants continue to have access to affordable units. This provision helps preserve housing stability, particularly for low-income families, veterans, and protects seniors, who are the most vulnerable population.
Section 610 offers a mechanism to ease these financial pressures by allowing for adjustments to the financial terms of an agreement. The flexibility enables property owners to continue maintaining and operating affordable housing units without compromising their financial viability, which I think is very important to the owners. They got to preserve their properties, but yeah, this helps. And it also helps strike a balance between addressing operational challenges and ensuring that rent remains affordable for tenants, ultimately promoting the sustainability of affordable housing long term.
Some of the uses of Section 610 is to address the financial pressures, right? So there are many financial options that can be offered through this program that, the city may offer financing through. You may get private financing through Section 610. And those finances are typically used to address capital improvements. So many of the developers and owners that are getting to the end of their compliance period of 15 years, the properties are in disrepair, right? There's windows that need to get done. There's roofs that need to get done. Many of the tenants are pretty hard on the property, and there may be extensive work needed in the units. So this is an opportunity to gain financing to be able to address some of that. Also, here in New York, we do have laws that are in place that are pushing for sustainability, right? So how do we make the property more green and have a smaller carbon footprint? There is financing associated with this program that can help owners comply with Local Law 97. So it is a valuable tool that if you know how to utilize, it can really be a game changer for owners and developers who are considering changing their property or moving away from affordability. So let's talk about real-world application, right? Because this sounds great, what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how it's really used, right? Let's consider a property built in the 1990s under the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program. The compliance period is nearing its end, and the owner faces rising costs associated with repairs, insurance, utilities. Without any action, the property could fall out of affordability.
Which is where Section 610 comes in. The owner negotiates a new agreement within the housing agency that they're associated with, agreeing to maintain affordability for an additional 20 years. As we said before, this time frame ranges. In return, the owner will receive financing for capital improvements or adjustments to regulatory terms that makes operations more feasible.
This kind of agreement protects tenants, it supports long-term affordability, and it ensures that the property is financially stable. It's a win-win for the owner. It's a win-win for tenants. It's definitely a path forward for affordable housing. So, with its pros comes its cons, right?
Challenges.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges associated with Section 610.
There are challenges. For one, navigating the negotiation process can be a bit complex.
Yeah, so we can dive into that a little bit more. I know that in our experience in negotiating with our regulatory agencies, it is definitely it took us about 18 months to get through our negotiations, which is typical. So I don't want anyone to think that this is an overnight thing. It does take time. So if you are interested in exercising Section 610 or taking advantage of the opportunities associated with this law, I would definitely recommend that you consider that when you plan to start. Typically, I would recommend developers, owners, property managers that are looking to pursue this to make sure that they start at least 18 months before they would like it to take effect.
Absolutely. Housing agencies must balance the need to preserve affordability with limited resources.
That's right. So that means while we understand that this is an opportunity for us, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're automatically going to be approved for whatever you go for, right? So that is why we recommend going after this at least 18 months before you close or before your period ends, because there may be options that you can go after, and some may work out and some may not. So it's really important that you take the time and understand that there are limits to this program, and you should consider that when you are looking into various financing options. So I would encourage anybody that is interested in taking advantage of Section 610 to really think through timing when it comes to this. It's for your best interest to really take a stab at this, understand what you're getting into, and by that 18-month mark before your compliance period ends, really jump in and get started.
Owners have to weigh the benefits of extending affordability against the potential for higher market rate returns. Also, another issue is the rising cost of construction and operations. Even with the Section 610 agreement, some owners may struggle to make the numbers work without additional subsidies or incentives.
Okay, so that's kind of the overview between what Section 610 can do and the struggles that some have faced when trying to take advantage of it. So let's talk through kind of a call to action for people. And I think when it comes to affordable housing, it is a call to action. Affordable housing is a need across the board from coast to coast. So I would encourage property owners, developers, property managers to really get in and start advocating for new policy and new laws to be created to help assist with this crisis. Section 610 is a tool that can be utilized, but again, it has its limitations. There are opportunities that, you may not be able to take advantage of. Everybody doesn't get what they apply for all the time, right? Because subsidies are limited. It is not a never-ending bank for owners and developers. So we do need to really work through policy here and across the country to figure out ways to help property owners maintain affordability. So I would say, again, policymakers, lawmakers all need to be contacted, and we really need to push and advocate for housing that is affordable.
In our communities.
Mm-hmm. We would say this is an essential mechanism to preserving affordable housing here in New York. It's essential to be able to face the rising costs associated with your properties and the increasing demand of affordable housing. We encourage property owners and housing advocates and policymakers to now explore how this law can be used to sustain affordable housing in our community. It's a vital topic that we can't let be ignored. and we really have to face it. So again, if this is something that you're interested in, I encourage you to dive into it, do some research about it, and figure out if Section 610 is an option for you.
So this season, we'll be exploring real-life applications of Section 610 for property owners and affordable housing developers, diving into strategies for leveraging it to secure funding. We'll be discussing addressing rising costs, tackling essential capital improvements. We'll also discuss best practices for property management in the affordable housing space, and share actionable insights to help navigate the challenges to maintain affordability while ensuring long-term sustainability. Thank you for tuning into today's episode.
If you found this episode valuable and this discussion valuable, we encourage you to subscribe, share, and write a review. And if you'd like to dive deeper into other housing topics, please let us know in our comments.
Until next time, we're your hosts. I'm Jessica.
Jahan.
Reminding you that housing is a human right. Stay informed, stay engaged, and let's build a better future together.